children at home and kid who just left, hi, now you're getting to watch the video. We're struggling, but we're going to get there. In theory, most of us, most likely, because there's a lot of struggling going on right now. Hey, but from there, what was the first thing you guys did with that piece of paper I just gave you?
Name.
Wait, Leo, before you go too far, don't do the back side of it, because that's more work than you have to do unless you really want to. The side you're doing is the good side, so do that one, make your life much easier. All right, good job. So then, sorry. When they redid my room, my thingy used to be one spot over, so that it was right behind me. And then when they redid my room, they moved it over one, so now it's a big pain in my patooski, because now it's like not in the right spot, but whatever. Sorry, home children. Let's see, e-learning, you're good to go there. You have no homework from me right now, except those kids who are missing work. That is the only homework for me at this moment. I am not giving you more homework today. I am technically giving you homework tomorrow, but it's just reading a story for Friday's quiz. I'm technically giving you homework on Thursday, but we're also going to get most of it done in class for those of you who pay attention. Those of you who go to your happy place during class, you may have more work. But my goal is, most of you should leave Thursday with like no work to get done at all. And maybe we're going to get a chance to finish the story in class tomorrow, and you won't have to read one on your own. But we'll get there. To there, and then thatty thing. And then, I got fracking, bracken, snacking, dracken.
It's on.
I'm aware. Kids speak cursing in cartoon language. To there, I've taken care of my kids. I still have to torture as far as that. And then, this one. We had a bunch of kids who corrected this when we went over it yesterday. If you don't email me, I can't change your grade. And I'm pretty sure I had kids in here who went through and corrected it and then did not email me. So just telling you, make sure you email me so I can give you credit for it. Don't be the kid that does the work and doesn't get credit for it. That seems like not a good idea. So just this is my reminder to you to make sure you email me so I can help you. Ryan? I don't know, Ryan. It's your email. All right. Then on to here, home children. We're going to pause for a second so we get a chance to just torture kids. No. All right. So hang on one second. Home children, we'll be back to you in just a moment. Hey, we got through that with just a minimum of issues. Mostly my issues. Hang on, I'm going to scoot this back a little bit. Perfect. Like right between the two struggle kids. All right. Green sheet. Have we got the foreshadowing yet?
No.
Let's do foreshadowing now. Home children. This is where your green sheet comes in. You're going to want to get out the green sheety thing. Green sheety thing. Good teamwork, Serena. And on the bottom of that front side is going to have foreshadowing and ironing. We're going to do ironing next week, so we're going to do foreshadowing here. There's every chance you should on some level have heard of foreshadowing at some point in your life. And if it is, you can go ahead and write down the definition. If not, and you need my help, foreshadowing are the clues in the story to help you know what's going on. So foreshadowing, little clues in the story to help you know what has happened. Excuse me. Kid in the hallway who's making sure he writes this down under foreshadowing on the green sheet. Yep, that's not a green sheet. There you go. There, you're getting closer. There you go.
Where's that at?
On the other side.
I don't see it. Oh, I see it. Right here?
Right there where it says foreshadowing.
Oh, I just read it on the
There you go. All right.
Okay, see.
So, DJ,
My pencil's broken, can I go sharpen my
you can go sharpen your pencil.
Yes.
So, do you guys remember the story we did, Lady and the Tiger?
Yeah.
Where you had like the two options with the ending of the story. You can scoot back a bit, that'll help. Look at it. Where it had like the two doors, and you were trying to figure out what was going to happen in it, and you guys got all frustrated because it just ended and didn't tell you what happened in the story.
You're supposed to
This story, The Voices, is similar. It's going to end in just the middle of a conversation, and you're going to want to get all ragey. So to make it better on you, there is a definite ending to this story, but we have to use foreshadowing clues to figure it out. Throughout the course of the story, there's going to be these voices that are talking to the main character, and you have to try and pick up on the clues to figure out who the voices are. And by the time we get to the end, the idea is you should know who those voices are, which gives a definite ending to the story. joy of the story is trying to figure out who the voices are as the story continues through it. And because I don't trust any of you, I've not given you the end of the story. Because I saw 4 of you immediately turn it over and try to read the end of it. That's why I cut it into 2 sections. And this one just stops in a random spot, and tomorrow I'll give you the end of the story, because I know you're all a bunch of little cheater children trying to learn on your own. And this is school. This is no place for learning. Yes?
What do you mean you don't trust me?
Kid, I saw it immediately turn it over and look at the other side of it. So,
I mean, I'm curious.
as we go through the quiz on Friday,
Oh,
a
yeah.
third of the quiz is going to be over this story. Good and bad news for you. I'm not making you write down homework as we go over it, as we did the previous ones. Now, I'm going to assume you have some level of smarty knowledge in your head. If you want to write things on the white sheet, you can. If you want to mark down characters, setting, and stuff like that, you're more than welcome to, and then you can use that on the quiz. I am fine with that. If you just want to rely on the strength of your own brain, scary, but I'm okay with that one too. I will give you sort of your option either way. We will go through and cover all of them after we finish the story, but it's going to be like a speedy thing, so just trying to give you a heads up on stuff. All right. And then I will read story to you, and we'll just have to stop and do discussy bits as we go through. Miles? Yes, just make sure you don't walk in front of my camera. Dev?
On Friday,
Uh-huh.
like, so if we sit, on Thursday, if we take the symptom sheet, and then like on Friday. like,
You would have until Monday because you don't see me on Friday. Good job. All right. Frisky. Good stuff. The voices. So as we get into it, figure out character, setting, what there's going on, stuff like that. The loud scream woke Sam from his sleep. He sat up and flipped on the light next to his bed. A quick glance at the clock on his dresser told him it was 5 o'clock in the morning. It took him a frantic moment to figure out what it was that had woken him. It had been a scream. His own scream, he realized. He thought for a moment as to what had caused a scream frightening enough to wake him up. The car crash, the fire, his family dying in the horrible blaze. The images came rushing back into his brain moments before the realization that it had been a dream and not real. It had been a vivid dream. It seemed eerily real, but it had just been a dream. Only a dream. He lay back in his bed and concentrated on relaxing. He still had an hour and a half before his alarm would go off for school. He had enough trouble today, what with his math test and all, so worrying about a bad dream was the last thing he wanted to do. But man, it had seemed so real. It really spooked him. He could almost feel the heat from the fire, hear the screams of his family trapped in the burning wreckage, smell the icky fumes of burning rubber from the inside of the car mixed with the other smells he couldn't quite place and didn't want to. A smell that reminded him of summer barbecues for some reason, and I don't know, he knew he didn't like it. No, he shook his head and tried to clear the disturbing images from his mind. This wasn't helping. He turned off his bedside lamp and rolled over to go to sleep. In the quiet of his house, he could hear his own breathing, the dog Nevada snuffling around downstairs, and the creaks of the house in the night. But it was then, at that quiet moment, in the middle of the night, he heard the voices for the first time. They were soft and foggy, but they were definitely there, and it scared him so badly that he wished he was dreaming again. "We're coming." And then another voice, louder and much clearer. "Dead!" Those little dots you see on there, home children, little dots, that means that we're going to jump to a new scene. So we're going to stop there for a moment. So far, we only have one real character in the story. That character being, so we have Sam so far. So,
Oh my god.
Oh,
the loud scream woke Sam from
okay.
tricky.
What about the dog?
So with that one, so again, dog may be a character. We just don't know enough yet. The dog ends up doing stuff, dog will be character. And so other people may pop up. It's just Sam's our only definite one so far. DJ?
I don't have like a place to put all of that.
Correct. That's why I said we're not putting it on there.
Oh.
All right, there's a fun game. And then from there, we have to have a description of Sam. So far, we don't know any other characters, so your description can be pretty open as long as it just makes sense in the story. Jameson?
Mine for Sam would probably be wussy pants.
Sam's description is wussy parents?
Wussy pants.
Wussy pants. Why is he a wussy pants?
He's scared.
Alright, what's he scared of?
Everything basically in the story.
Well, true, but I was looking for a bit more specifics. Is it like a spider?
The voices.
Alright, so he has voices talking to him in his head. I'll go with wussy pants. I mean, if that's what you're going to go with on that one, sure. Kira?
Has trauma from a car crash.
Well, at least a dream of a car crash, but sure. So he has trauma from a car crash. We work from, yeah. Dad? Yeah, sure.
Mental issues.
We all do.
I just went for a boy who hears voices, but apparently you guys are going a bit more attacky on poor Sam. We'll have other characters who sort of pop in. It might be the dog Nevada. It might not be. We won't know until we get a bit farther into the story from there. For the when is our story taking place?
At night.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock in evening or morning.
Morning.
Nicely done. Taking place 5 o'clock in the morning. Ooh. If I tell you it's a school day, what evidence could you use in story to prove to me it's a school day?
He says, in the story says 1 hour and 30 minutes until school starts.
Making sure, is that what it's saying?
Until his alarm goes off.
Until his alarm goes off. So it's not a bad guess, but it just his alarm goes
He's a
off.
math test.
That I would accept. He does talk about a math test coming up. So that's where you go for that one. For the where is it taking place?
His bedroom. In his bed.
So far it is in his house, in his bedroom, and that's where he sort of wakes up at that point. And then, what is it that's scaring poor Sam?
Voices in his head.
Voices in his head, that's so far.
And his dream.
And the dream. And what was the dream about?
His parents dying.
Parents dying in a car crash. And then what is it the voices are saying?
I'm coming dead.
So, what was the word I made you know before we started?
Foreshadowing.
So, now we don't have a lot of foreshadowing clues yet, but my first question will be, do you have predictions or guesses so far on just this little bit on what you think is happening or will be connecting to? Eli?
I think he was having a lucid dream.
Meaning, explain more.
He feels like he's actually in the dream. It's like people say in a lucid dream, you actually feel like you're inside of it and you can do whatever you want.
I can dig that. All right. Leo?
Maybe he is a part of a system like an OSDD or a DID system.
So the idea where there's multiple voices in the head kind of thing? Could very well be. The system where there's multiple voices in the head. Kira?
Or two things. He could have schizophrenia and he's hallucinating this. Or two, he did something terrible that caused the car crash and he's thinking of his family members saying like, oh, we're coming for you. He's dead.
You seem so happy talking about him doing horrible
I am.
things.
It's so funny. It's
That's
not
just-
funny. It's exciting.
Oh my god, you're saying it.
Dev?
That's not nice.
What?
Yeah, that's not nice.
Ooh. So how would that explain the voices?
Depression.
Just restating it. Okay. Jameson?
I've heard this, I don't know if it's true, but it's possible to have a dream inside of a dream, like you see.
I like my
So he's like,
Like you have a dream, you
Oh, I
wake
wanna
up,
try
but you
that.
think you're awake, but apparently something else happens and you wake up again and you're actually awake from it.
I've seen TV shows like that. I'll roll with that one.
I've done that before.
DJ?
The kid is a little bit insane and has problems.
Schizophrenia.
There could be a little bit of insanity in that too.
Schizophrenia.
So now,
Die.
little dot things means we jump to
Next scene.
So here we're going to find out it is not just voices that are tormenting him. We get to add in a new thing that is also going to be torturing him also. Right.
Oh, he's in sleep paralysis.
His eyes hurt. He was sitting in his first period science class and couldn't believe his bad luck. Mrs. Large was droning on and on in front of the room. Something about cells and membranes, but his eyes kept bursting into flames. Well, okay, not actual flames, but it sure felt pretty close. He was just sitting there trying not to get called on, trying not to think about what a horrible morning he had had when all of a sudden his vision went completely white and he could feel an odd pressure on his eyelids. And then it was gone. Nothing. He could see just fine without a problem. No residual stars in his vision. No need to blink to clear his eyes. The whiteness was just gone as quickly as it had come. Sam quickly looked around to see if anyone else had noticed the burst of whiteness or if it had just been him, but nobody else seemed to be having a problem. He was looking to his left to see if Trevor had noticed it when his left eye burst into flaming whiteness. This time he noticed it didn't actually hurt. It just startled him and freaked him out, but there wasn't any actual pain. He stopped for a moment, one eye viewing nothing but a brilliant shining whiteness and the other viewing his friend Trevor. He blinked to clear it, and then the whiteness switched eyes. His left eye cleared just as his right eye burst into a vanilla star. He gasped audibly as the eye change startled him. He still felt no pain, but it was becoming incredibly frustrating. A quick pause. So now it's not just voices. What else is happening to him?
He's having glowing
He's
eyeballs.
having blind
Yeah.
flashes.
So bright white. So what's on the back side? This thing's like this little white area. If you can imagine, one eye is just going white, where it's kind of hard with all the writing on there. But one eye is like nothing but whiteness, but the other eye sees just fine. And the eye that has whiteness, he can feel like pressure pushing against it. As a kid said earlier, it's like when you're sleepy and you rub your eyes and like you pull your right way and all you see is like whiteness. That's sort of what it's like, except his hands aren't there. His hands are here, and his eye's like, racket, racket, racket. It's like, ah! And it disappears, and then it switches to other eye. Kira?
What if this is like the evidence of like we're living in a simulation and like someone's like cleaning out his eyeballs right now and they're trying to make him go crazy?
That's where the foreshadowing is going to get to. Mr. Times, are you okay? A voice from the front of the room asked. He spun in his seat to see Mrs. Larks looking at him with concern in her eyes. He stared at her for about 3 heartbeats as he tried to focus with his only good eye. Mr. Times, you're not looking well. Would you like to go to the nurse? With a final burst of cream-colored light, his right eye suddenly filled with a stereo image of his left. His vision had returned. He rose to his feet, feeling surprisingly steady but scared. His vision was fine, but his mind, or, well, his head at least, most certainly was not. Yes, ma'am. I think I would. May I ask what's wrong? Oh, my head hurts is all. I think I should be fine if I can get some aspirin or something. Well, I hope you feel better. Go ahead and grab the pass off the wall and head down. You can get the homework from a friend when you get back. Thanks, ma'am. I should be fine once I get something for my head. He walked up to the front of the room, grabbed the laminated blue pass off its hook on the wall. He didn't have to turn to feel the eyes of the class on him as he walked out. Even though he was just going to the nurse, he could still feel all the attention being directed at him. He could actually feel the silence in the room as all the eyes behind him followed his progress from the teacher's desk to the door. God, he thought, this is beginning to feel like a really bad dream. They're all dead! He stopped in his tracks with his hand on the door. The voice, the one he'd heard this morning, the one he thought was just a bad dream, the deep male voice that haunted his thoughts since that morning. Who's dead? The thought raced through his head. Is the class dead? Over there! The voice spoke again. He turned to look, one hand still on the doorknob. The class was staring at him. Mrs. Larks was looking at him. He could hear the first few giggles erupt in different places in the classroom. Where? Sam asked out loud. Who is dead? More giggles burst out from within the class. He could hear Trevor's voice asking, Hey man, you okay? Who are you talking to? His teacher's voice again in his ears. No one is dead, Sam. Why would anyone be dead? She paused for a moment and then added, Do you need someone to go to the nurse with you? Sam vigorously shook his head back and forth. No, Mrs. Larks, I don't need that. And he asked, Did you hear the voice? The guy saying people were dead. Did anyone hear the voice? He scanned the room with his eyes, looking for anyone nodding their head yes, but no one was. They all looked scared of him. Even Trevor. We're almost there. He heard the original soft, whispery voice say, the same voice he had first heard that morning. The voice didn't sound scary at all. It sounded soft and friendly, but it still managed to scare him. It really made him want to know almost where he heard his own voice say out loud. So, new location. Where's our new location?
Science class in period one.
Science class. So now we know it's a horror story because it's dealing with science. And so from there, and so from there, science to that. The voices have continued. What are the voices still saying?
They're all dead.
More about the death, and we have the whole eyeball issue. And we've kind of added two characters. The two characters being
The
teacher and
Trevor.
Trevor. So I'll tell you, Trevor does keep showing up. He is going to be a regular character. Mrs. Larks, this was her only thing, then she disappears. So I'm not going to count her as one of the main characters, but Trevor most definitely is. And who is Trevor? There you go. He's going to be friend of Sam's that's going to sort of try to help him throughout all of this. Do not lose this. We're going to bring it back tomorrow, and we're going to find out who the voices are then. Kira